guys, and welcome back to my channel. Oh, it's snowing outside. Is it snowing? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing The Young Elites by Marie Lu. This is her newest book that came out last fall. I read and loved the Legend series last year and it was fantastic. It was so good, one of my favorite trilogies ever. And so obviously I needed to read this when it came out. And in comparison, I kind of think I like the Legend trilogy better, but this is only the first book, and I love where this is going. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Love where the story is going, but it did take me quite like 100 pages maybe to get into this book. I picked this book up expecting to love it, read the first 100 pages or so, and put it down and left it for a while. Like I just couldn't get into the story. I couldn't get into this world because it is a fantasy novel. It takes place in a world where it's a very medieval setting, and I don't know, I just couldn't get into it at first. But once I finished it, I loved it. I loved it. The ending happened and I couldn't even believe that I had ever put it down. And the epilogue just sealed the deal because it's the way it's setting up for the next novel is fantastic. I cannot wait for the next book because it's going to be so good. I love where the story is going. It's going wonderful places. So I would describe this book as being like X-Men meets Game of Thrones. Because who doesn't like X-Men and who doesn't like Game of Thrones? If you don't, then you're not going to like this book. Because it is about this society called the Dagger Society, and the people in the society have superpowers. But it takes place in medieval times. This story follows 3 points of view. The first one is Adelina. She is a survivor of the blood fever, an illness that swept through their nation about 10 years prior to when the story starts. Those infected by the fever, most of them died. However, the few that lived were mostly children, and they were left with these strange markings. Adelina's dark hair went silver, her eyelashes went pale, and she has a jagged scar across her face where her left eye used to be. And her father, who is a very cruel, terrible person, believes that she is an abomination and a malfeto, which is basically their word for an abomination, and that she is bringing bad fortune to their family, that she is preventing him from cashing in on her wealth because he can't marry her off to anyone. He's a terrible person. However, some of those that did survive the blood fever are said to possess unique powers and powerful gifts. Although they do remain hidden from society, they are what we know in the story as the Young Elites. Basically, malfetos with powers are Young Elites, whereas malfeto is just someone with an abomination. And so then that brings us into our second point of view, which is Terran. He is an inquisitor for the Queen's Royal Court. He works for the Inquisition Access, and basically his job is to rid the entire nation of malfetos. He believes that they are a curse, that they are just bringing terrible things to their nation. They should be seeked out and hunted. Specifically, he is searching out Young Elites. He isn't as interested in malfetos as he is in Young Elites, but because any malfeto can possess a power, he's basically burning any malfeto at the stake. But he is specifically targeting the Young Elites because he finds them to be very powerful and deadly and a threat to his queen's rule. And then that brings us to our third point of view, who is Enzo. Enzo is a member of the secret society known as the Dagger Society, and it is their job to seek out other Young Elites and recruit them for their cause. But when the Daggers find Adelina, they are a bit unsure of her because she has powers like none of them have ever come across before, and she's different, and they can't quite figure out why. And now my cat is scratching at the door and wants to come in. And that is all I'm going to tell you for those of you who have not yet read the book. So if you haven't read the book, go read it, come back when you're done, and we're going to discuss some spoilery goodness. Last chance. If you haven't read it, bye-bye. I will see you soon. Those of you who had, let's get down to business. What? Odie, I hear you. Are you coming in? If you come in, then you're in. Clearly, my cat has also come to join us because he was scratching at the door and wanted in. You gonna lay down? Now he wants out. Now he wants back in. No, you're not coming back in. You're stuck out there. So first I want to start by talking about Adelina. She's so different from any protagonist I've ever read about. She has a very dark past, and because of that, she has a very dark inner dialogue. Like, she's not this character who was bullied and beaten and abused and hurt in the past who overcomes it and is better for it. She's deeply affected by how her father raised her. Her father was brutal to her. He broke her fingers, he scarred her, he was just verbally abusive, he would lock her up. He totally favored his other daughter Violetta over her just because Violetta wasn't marked. He saw Adelina as this girl who was completely worthless to him. He couldn't make any money off of her. He couldn't sell her to some nice family because who wanted to marry a Malfetto? So he was just awful to her. And she was so jealous of her sister and the fact that her sister had the fever but wasn't scarred from it. Like, how come she was and her sister wasn't? She just felt so betrayed by her family, and it really plays out in her character in the story. She is not this heroine that overcomes this dark emotional past to become a better person. She is a bad person because she had a bad life. And it just seems so natural, and it just seems so normal. Like, reading about her like this makes sense. If I would have had a book where she became a hero and overcame her past at this stage in her life, I wouldn't have bought into it. I don't think it would have been as believable, because she's only 16 years old, so she's super impressionable, and she's just trying to find somewhere to fit in, and she'll do anything to fit in, except be a servant. She's not going to be subservient to anybody anymore. She finds a society. They teach her how to be strong and how to be powerful and how to use her powers, because up until she joined the society, she hadn't ever used them. Growing up, she never had access to these powers. She never used them. She always felt this like darkness inside of her, but she didn't know what that was, and she didn't know how to exploit it. And then she leaves and she gets away from her family. She kills her dad. That was just something in and of itself. She used shadows to kill her dad because it turns out she's an illusionist. She can manipulate images. She can create images to frighten or interrogate somebody, and then she can use them to kill people. She used shadows to kill her dad. That was crazy. But that was the only instance where she'd ever used her powers, until she came along the Young Elites, and Raphael and Enzo, who are both part of the Young Elites, helped to hone her powers, helped her nurse them, help her figure out what she needed to draw on, what she needed to focus on in order to use them. Turns out, the emotions that she aligned highest with were like fury and passion, very strong, powerful emotions. Reading her, you can tell she's a little bit dark. She is not a happy-go-lucky person. So she spends a lot of time with these young elites, and she meets these others who can control the wind, who can move, who have super speed. Enzo, who can control and create fire, and then Raphael can sense others around him that are young elites. He can sense other powers around him, and then there's another one who can communicate with animals. And so this little band of young elites are basically trying to take down the crown. They're trying to rid the queen and the king. The queen's kind of more charged than the king, trying to rid them so that they can take over the country, because the king and the queen have ordered their Inquisition access to murder any Malfetto, because any Malfetto can develop into a young elite. Any Malfetto can be one. Anybody can have powers, so if anyone has a mark, they're gone. And that's where we meet Taryn, who is the Inquisition head, the leader, who has a secret love affair with the queen. And she has basically got him under her thumb and has him doing whatever she wants. He is hell-bent on getting Adelina because Adelina escaped execution and escaped him, was saved by Enzo and taken to the Dagger Society. And she's on the run from the Inquisition, and he is not happy she got away. Taryn is not happy about it. So he kidnaps her sister and takes her as a prisoner. Somehow he and Adelina cross paths, and he tells her, hey, I have your sister. If you don't do what I say, if you don't spy on your friends for me, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to torture her, and I'm going to kill her. So naturally, she spies for him, and we find out that Taryn is not just somebody that wants to rid the world of Malfetos. He is actually a Malfeto himself, and he is a young elite on top of that. He has the ability to, like, self-heal. So if he's injured, he can self-heal very quickly. He's one of those characters who hates himself so much and hates what he's become that he's now hunting people like him. And he is hunting the Dagger Society, and he is hunting Enzo, and he is hunting Adelina. He wants them. He's out for blood. Because, get this, Enzo is the prince, the rightful heir to the throne. At the time that he was affected by the fever, he kind of went into a comatose state where people thought that he died. And then he was shipped off by his family. So he is the rightful heir to the throne. His sister has now taken over, and he wants her gone. He wants to take over, and he wants to be king. It's his birthright. He wants his sister out of there. So she has Taryn hunting her brother. And Taryn and Enzo were friends as kids. They would fight together. I mean, it's just like the way that the stories just interconnect, and that how everybody is connected to everybody else is so, I love it. It's so cool. And that's really what piqued my interest and kept me involved in the story, was all the different ways that the stories were interwoven. Oh, and then we learned that Violetta isn't so unmarked as we thought she was. She's actually also a young elite. She can take away people's powers, which is why for so many years everyone didn't know she had powers, because Violetta was suppressing them for her. Violetta could sense that Adelina had powers and could take them from her and suppress them so that Adelina couldn't use them. That was so cool. It was such a cool twist. I love that she did that, because it explained, like, why would she be marked and not her sister? Well, they both are, and that was so freaking cool. And then the ending. So Adelina and Violetta help Enzo in a duel against Taryn to get back Raphael, because Raphael went out on a night mission to kind of scope things out, because he's the one that recruits new members, and he gets captured by Taryn. So in order to get Raphael back, Enzo has to battle Taryn. Well, Adelina gets involved, and she disguises Enzo to look just like Taryn. And then Violetta is trying to strip Taryn's ability from him so he can't self-heal, so that they can actually kill him. Well, because Taryn and Enzo both look like Taryn, Adelina accidentally kills the wrong Taryn. She killed Enzo. And I'm like, how can you kill Enzo? He is your main romance in this series. How are you going to kill him? What are we going to have for a romance now? And so after Adelina basically commits treason and kills Enzo, the young elites cast her out because she killed their leader. Even if it was accidental, she killed their leader. So Raphael's like, that's it. I'm done with you. You're out of the society. You and your sister need to go. But damn cat wants inside again. So then we get to the epilogue. And the epilogue is told from a different point of view. What was her name? Maeve. This woman named Maeve, who is in nowhere else in the story. She is the ruler of another kingdom across the ocean, and she gets word that Enzo is dead. And kind of sucks for her, because her and Enzo had this secret pact that when he overthrew his sister and took over the kingdom, he would reestablish trade with this other kingdom. Well, he can't do that if he's dead. So, she's also a young elite. Get what she can do. She can bring people back from the dead. So, she's probably going to bring Enzo back from the dead in the next book. And that's going to go horribly wrong because she brought back her younger brother from the dead, and he's not quite himself. We're going to get this other kingdom involved. We're going to find out about this necromancer who can raise dead people. He's going to obviously bring back Enzo. So, in conclusion, if you like X-Men and Game of Thrones and fantastic epilogues, you're going to love this. This is going to be a fantastic series. I cannot wait to see where this goes. I want the Rose Society. I want to read it now. And with that being said, and my super cluttered ideas, because I just couldn't, he wants out. And that is all I'm going to say on that book today. I feel like I could go on and remember even more small details, because as I keep talking, more details are coming to my mind, and I just want to share all of my thoughts and feelings with you. So if you have any favorite scenes or anything that you're really excited about, or any theories for what you think is going to happen in the next book, tell me in the comments below. Let's discuss. Let's talk about what we think is going to happen. Did anyone else have a difficult time getting into this book, or did you all breeze through it like I did after I read the first 100 pages? I'm going to open it up to you guys in the comments. Tell me what you loved. Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And that is it for today. And until next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. God, that only took like 400 tries. The cat wants in, the cat wants out. I keep forgetting what I want to say. More thoughts coming to my brain. It was a cluster fanuga. To be discussing, talking, reviewing, all of the above. Hi guys, welcome back. Where did this piece come from? This button out of control. World, realm, place where these people live. Get your thoughts together, girl. You know what this book's about. You read it. No, that makes no sense. Speak in sentences. Speak in complete thoughts. Oh. What is this piece of hair doing? Just, they don't like them. They don't like them. The snow is so pretty. It's so distracting. I just want to watch the snow. We're gonna nail this one. Third time's a charm. Right? 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 Today we are going to be reading, not reading, I already read it. Okay. It's like a bat. Did I already say he's the leader? Now I'm losing my mind. I can't remember what I said. I recorded this so many times. I don't like the way I'm describing this book. I don't even know what Kinatra? A lot of really weird words in this book that I cannot pronounce, so I just skim over them and pretend like I can say them in my mind. And then I'm sitting here trying to pronounce them for you, and la 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 is what's coming out of my mouth. Let me just... Grasping? Using? Exploiting? Do I have to hold this up the whole time? You know what I'm talking about. Can I put it down? I really don't want to hold it anymore.